Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
You can use the program flow functionality in Access to create macros that are run only when specified conditions have been met or perform other more advanced types of macro functions. The program flow functions replace many of the older features of macros found in versions of Access before 2010, such as the conditions column, macro names, and comments. In this section, we will examine how you can use the program flow functions to create advanced macros. First, you would open your macro creation screen, and then ensure that you can see the Action Catalog pane at the right side of the window. Note that this is a pane that you can toggle on and off by clicking the Action Catalog button in the Show Hide Button group on the Design tab of the Macro Tools Contextual tab in the ribbon. You can use the Group function that appears under the Program Flow category to create collapsible and expandable groupings of named macro actions within a larger macro. This allows you to create a larger macro with different named sections within it. To do this, click and drag the Group function into your macro design window from the Action Catalog, and then type a name for the group into the Group field. You can then add the actions to the named group as you normally would. Note that you can have several groups within a single macro. Also note that, unlike previous versions of Access prior to 2010, the groups within a macro cannot be called or run individually. They are only used to organize actions within longer macros. To delete a macro grouping or comment, or any other section, such as an if section, you can click the Delete button that appears at the right end of the grouping or program flow section and looks like a small X. You can use the if function to create conditional macros that will only execute if a given scenario evaluates to a logical true value. To do this, click and drag the if function into your macro design window from the Action Catalog, and then enter the expression to evaluate into the if field. If you want assistance in correctly entering the expression, be sure to click the Expression Builder button that appears at the right end of the if field. This will open a separate Expression Builder window where you can add references to database objects and also enter values that should be evaluated. When you've finished creating your expression, click the OK button to add it to your if function. You can then use the Add New Action drop-down to choose the action to take if your specified expression returns a true value. Next, if you wish to add an else condition to the if statement, you can either click the Add Else or Add Else If hyperlinks within the if statement. Clicking the Add Else hyperlink will add an else statement to your if statement that will allow you to specify an action to take if your expression returns a logical false value. Clicking the Add Else If hyperlink will allow you to evaluate yet another expression if the first expression evaluates to a false value. This allows you to evaluate many expressions and return a unique action based on multiple possible values. Now let's examine the comment function. You can click and drag the comment function from the action catalog and drop it into the desired line within a macro in order to add a non-executing line of text to your macro. Simply type the text that you want to have appear within the text box. Now, when you exit the text box, Access will convert the text into a non-executing comment within your macro. Note that if you add the comment into the wrong place in the macro, you can click the move up and move down arrows that appear at the right end of the comment line when you hold your mouse pointer over it to move the comment up or down through the lines of actions. Also, you can delete a comment by clicking the small delete button, which looks like a small X, at the right end in the same area. Now you can use the sub macro function to add a sub macro within your macro that can only be called by either the on error or run macro actions. Submacros must always be the last actions within a macro if used. Now to do this, click and drag the submacro function into your macro design window from the action catalog, and then type a name for the submacro into the submacro field. You can then add the actions to the submacro as you normally would. You can set the reference to the submacro using the property event sheet or by using the run macro or on error actions within a macro.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.